So I'm on my way to Walmart running an errand for my wife. And I'm getting in the car. And my friend texts me, I guess, a commercial from Nickelodeon to where there's a whole song that is teaching kids on Nickelodeon the meaning of the rainbow, and they got a pride song. I said they got a pride song, and they teaching all what the colors of the rainbow mean. Yellow is for happiness or whatever, yada yada yada. And they got either a man in drag or a transvestite singing a song that is on Nickelodeon. See, this is where things kind of get dicey, and I came out here to do it live because I wanted to share thoughts, raw thoughts, and I can't, type it, and I've been typing all day, so, I'll spare you that, but I'll do another video, this video for y'all. This is where it kind of gets dicey, because on the one hand, it's just like, no, it's not right to hate anybody of the LGBTQ community. It's not right at all. It's not right to pick on them or make them feel less of a human or any of that stuff at all. So on the one hand, I get it. On the one hand, I totally get it. If I was in the world, if I didn't have the convictions that I had about Christianity, about Christ, and about what my purpose is, I would totally rock with the whole commercial and what they're trying to do as far as different platforms, whether that be Nickelodeon or whether that be, anything. Even with this whole month, with Pride Month, and the support of the LGBT community with the whole rainbow colored backdrops and all the other stuff. If I didn't have the convictions that I have, I would totally be for it. Because on the surface level, nobody should be hated for who they are. Nobody should be picked on for who they are at all, or for what their choices are. This is the difficulty of a Christian in America that wants to stand on their convictions. Because the truth about the matter is, no. Do we hate people? No. I know there are people that use the Bible as an excuse to hate people, as an excuse to beat up people, as an excuse to celebrate the fact that. Sorry. Stop shaking. I know that there's people that use the Bible to celebrate the fact that there's HIV and AIDS, and to celebrate the fact that people are getting beat up for choosing to be homosexual and all the other stuff. But you got to understand, not all Christians are on that craziness, and not all Christians that are not on that craziness that other people be on, as far as Bible thumping and beating other people over the head. Not all Christians that are not with that are with agreeing with the LGBT community about what they choose. There's a third option. It's not for or against. There's a third option to where we do esteem the individuals of the LGBTQ community as being made in the image and likeness of God, because you're simply a human being. Pretty much, you're simply a human being. You were made in the image and likeness of God, and that qualifies you to receive love. But things get dicey when you talk about stuff like Nickelodeon doing commercials where they're encouraging people basically to be proud of your choice to like the same sex. Be proud of all that. Things get dicey there when you talk about kids. Things get dicey when you talk about marriage, because that gets into the definition of what is marriage, and things get dicey because Christians believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. So things get dicey because of those reasons, and really and truly, me, like I've said on many occasions, if you know what I believe in, and say for instance, if I had a church and you wanted to get married, don't expect me to marry you to your boyfriend if you're a man. Don't expect me to marry you to your girlfriend if you're a woman. Don't expect me to endorse it in any way, because I'm not going to. I'm not going to. And the thing about it is I can do that and totally esteem you as a person without affirming what your decisions are. Just because I don't affirm what your decisions are, just because I don't agree with the homosexuals, pushing or appearing to push an agenda on children, doesn't mean that I hate them in any way. At all. My statement that I want to make is how are you going to encourage people to be who they are and to esteem their own self and their identity when, in all honesty, if we were just to be honest about it, you don't even know who you are. And that's fine. That's okay, because that's like the majority of human society. This is a life, the life we're coming into who we are. We don't just come out knowing who we are. Neither do we know who we are because we turn 40 years old, 70, or whatever the case may be. Identity, for some, is a lifelong journey. So how are you going to tell other people to be proud of who you are if you don't know who you are? And that's the thing. Speaking from a Christian and speaking for my camp of people that believe in Christ, it just appears as if you're pushing LGBTQ community agenda on people because you don't even know who you are. And then you got kids that are coming up believing that they are gay because they are remotely attracted to the other sex or have some kind of feelings towards the other sex. And instead of, really taking a pause and assessing the situation, you're just automatically going to throw them kids headlong into celebrating pride and celebrating homosexuality and everything like that. You got to stop and pause and ask yourself, is this truly the way to go about it? Like I said, it doesn't even matter if you are gay, homosexual, a member of the LGBTQ community. All of us, at a certain extent, are trying to figure out life. And there's certain things that we have figured out more than others. And then there are certain things that we don't. It's just like parents when they want their kids to go to a good school and pursue a good paying job versus chasing their dream of being a rapper or a gamer or whatever the case may be. To the best of the parents' ability, to the best of the adults' ability, they're like, hey, this is the way that you need to go because this is going to carve out a space in life for you to be successful or whatever the case may be. And even that's wrong. And the reason why that's wrong, let's step off of the LGBTQ community stoop for a minute, and let's just talk about parents encouraging their kids to choose a career path with the most money when the kid doesn't even want to go into that path of career. That's wrong because at the basis of it, just like at the basis with the LGBTQ community and everything else with me, does it or does it not affirm true purpose as a human being? True purpose being rooted in Christ. So let's get off, like I said, let's get off of the homosexuals and the LGBT community for a minute, and let's just talk about parents who force their kids to go into professions and teach their kids to go into professions to provide for themselves the maximum amount of money to be successful. That's wrong. Period, point blank. It's wrong. It's just as wrong as pushing an agenda or supporting kids being affirmed in being gay, because you're still trying to figure life out. And basically, parents, they have stopped, or they know how hard the world is. They know how hard it is in the world without money and without funds to fund their dreams or to have a family and all that other stuff. They know the harsh realities of life. And because they know the harsh realities of life, they do their best job, and albeit it's imperfect, to get their kids to make a choice to choose a career that's going to be something that's good for them. They try to parent their... Okay, this is what parents do. And this is what the LGBT community is doing as well. Parents try to parent their kids through their own life. They live vicariously through their kids. They try to provide for their kids by instilling in their kids values like get a good job and all this other stuff. And on one part, that's good, that's cool. But on the other part, it's bad because it's taken away from looking at God as your provider. You know? Just period, point blank. I mean, and that's basically everybody is not a believer and everybody that has become a believer. It's still, you know, it's still a struggle, even for adults teaching kids to trust in God for provision. Not saying that you got to trust in him to rain money down from the sky, because that's not what I'm saying. That's a fairy tale. But I'm saying teach your kids to be self-sufficient in having what they need for life. You don't have to be rich to have a good life. You can chase your dreams and literally create an industry out of what you want to do. And parents oftentimes dull kids' dreams. You have a kid that says, I want to be a painter or whatever the case may be. And if their aspiration isn't glamorous, then parents shoot down their kid's dream because they can't catch the vision of what God gave their kid. So instead of encouraging that kid to chase their dreams and, you know, I don't know, maybe helping them work out the logistics of how this is going to work and how they're going to support themselves, instead of doing that, they just tell their kids to, you know, go to school for business and get a career that's going to give you a lot of money, go into multi-level marketing, get residual increase and all this other stuff. And parents really got these kids jacked up. So it's not only, I don't want to pick no more on the LGBT community. What I'm trying to do with everything that I do is say that anything that takes their human experience away from what God is meant for it to be is wrong and it's sinful. It just is. So let's land this plane where I started. I don't think it's right to have a commercial on Nickelodeon talking about pride, because we are all trying to find our way. And there are certain things that we know for a fact, like we need to teach financial literacy in school because we know that we're going to need that. We need to teach kids how to affirm themselves. We're going to need that. But affirming yourselves doesn't have to do anything at all with your sexuality. It doesn't. It doesn't. Affirming yourself, learning to affirm yourself doesn't have anything to do with affirming yourself as far as it comes to your sexual preference. It doesn't. It doesn't. That's a very low view of sex. Very low view of sex. You can affirm kids. You can teach them how to love themselves. You can teach them how to not be bullied without adding sex in the mix and without adding attraction to the opposite sex in the mix. What do kids looking at Nickelodeon, and this is not, no teenager in their right mind is going to want to look at that stupid behind Nickelodeon commercial. This is a commercial that it's apparent that it's tailored towards kids like 10, I don't even want to say 10, maybe 7 and under. It's tailored towards them. And it's just like, no. What business does a kid that's 7 and under have looking at a transvestite, transsexual man dressed in a wig and a dress and makeup? What business do they have looking at that? They're a kid. They're a kid. It's just crazy. It's the world we coming up in, I know. But we got to start telling the whole truth about stuff. We do not have to affirm somebody in their misguided choice of who they want to be just because the pressure is being put on us. We're all still trying to figure out life. And like I said, some things we have a good handle on. Other things we don't. And so for the stuff that we don't have a good handle on, don't press that crap on your kids. That's all I'm saying. I think that Nickelodeon commercial is totally out of line. It's totally out of line. Because the LGBT community, for the most part, is still trying to figure themselves out. If not, then why do you have whole communities of people that are created to be protected in a world where we're still trying to figure out how to love one another? We're all still trying to figure this thing out. And we can still try to figure this thing out without trying to press the agenda onto minors. It's just like when they first released the virus, the vaccine. When they first released the vaccine, ain't nobody was trying to jump all on that vaccine because we want to know what kinks and stuff it got out. At first, it came out quick, and then y'all trying to press it on each other, and it, all this stuff about clinical trials and everything. It's just like that. But the thing about it is there is no emergency to where we got to press the LGBT community, press gayness, press lesbianism on to kids. If we really want to do something, how about we do the opposite? How about we teach humans how to properly love and interact with one another? How about we do that? Why can't we teach people how to respect differences and not affirm the community in something that they're not even sure of? It's just funny. I find it funny that we are quicker to try to push. Apparently, this is what it appears like. I find it funny that it appears like we try to push an agenda to get people to be firmed up in their choices versus pushing understanding of where these people are coming from. I mean, we do it with other stuff. There's other stuff and other mentalities that kids have that because we don't accept, we take them to counseling or whatever, and we work with them because we're kind of sold or have a bias as far as what we want them to go into there. But it just seems as if humanity, for the most part, basically, and this is the truth, humanity for the most part, and this was happening way before the gays and lesbians stepped on the scene. Humanity wants to do what humanity wants to do. And all this leg of the LGBTQ community is about, all it's about is firming up you to do what you feel you want to do. That's the culture right now. You want to be a woman and you're a man, go ahead and fulfill your dreams. You want to be a man and you're a woman, go ahead and fulfill your dreams. You want to, have aspirations to be rich, you got a ton of music that you can go and fulfill your dreams. If you haven't noticed, I know y'all heard about record labels paying certain, there's an agenda, I know people hate that, but there is an agenda, whether you're a part of it or not, whether you know about it or not, there's an agenda behind everything to push forward and esteem certain things. And so right now, the agenda is be whatever you want to be. So the people that's pushing stuff on kids like this Nickelodeon LGBTQ commercial about the rainbow and all this other stuff, programming is real. Just like they got news programming and CNN can say one thing and Fox can say another thing, the powers that be are pushing the agenda. There's some honest people in the camp of the LGBTQ community. Some people that are honestly working out and trying to figure out who they are. For the most part, I don't have any gripes with the LGBTQ community because it's doing good. It's helping people to save lives. It's helping people not commit suicide. It's helping people not to be bullied. It's creating communities that need to be created because freaking humanity is so messed up that it won't accept people that are different. So I appreciate the LGBT community because the LGBTQ community actually is a testament to the humanity, the God-given humanity that God has given all men. But what I don't rock with is I don't rock with the agenda of the powers that be behind the scenes, the ones that are using honest people in these camps for their agenda and for what they want to do. And whether you believe it or not, there is an agenda behind honest, loving people. There just is. And so the powers that be blind the minds of people, and they steer them in a certain way, and they tell you what you want to hear, and they affirm you in what they want to affirm you in because they just want to. There is an agenda. And that's what people don't want to face up to. That's what people don't want to be honest about. That's what people don't believe, because they just believe, I don't know. They don't believe that the world is as bad as it is, which I don't know how you can believe that when you got people marching into churches and shooting people. You got systemic racism, holding people, whole groups of people for 400 years. I don't understand how you can not believe that there is serious evil in this world and there's a serious agenda behind certain things. Wake up. There's a serious agenda behind honest things that go on in this world. The powers that be, there are powers that be that are steering things a certain way. But aside from the powers that be, the thing that Christians have to understand is that most of the people that you're going to talk to on a normal day-to-day basis aren't part of the powers that be. Yeah, they have the spirit of Antichrist. They're sheep. Have you ever seen The Matrix? Anybody that's plugged into The Matrix is a potential agent. And they're a potential agent because that agent can literally enter into that person and use them. Basically, if you're not out of the Matrix, if you're plugged into the Matrix, the spirit of Antichrist can use you at will. I'm telling you, that's real. If you're not of God, if you're not in Christ, you are a sitting duck for the powers that be. You are a sitting duck for Satan himself. And he doesn't come with horns and a pitchfork. He comes in a way that will be most likable to you. Y'all gotta wake up. The devil's not coming with a pitchfork and a red devil. The devil doesn't look like what Lil Nas X twerked on in his video. The devil looks really nice. The devil looks like an angel of light. And what culture and movies have done is make us believe that the devil looks scary and all this other stuff. Nah, he wouldn't be appealing if you look like that. He wouldn't be appealing if you look like that. The devil don't look like that. He's gonna come to you as an angel of light because he knows how to deceive. And it looks good on the surface. That's why I said it looks good, affirming kids' identity and all this other stuff. Be careful of who's nice to you. Be careful of who's smiling in your face. Be careful of people that are affirming you. Because if we understand that there's people that stab us in the back and smile in our face, I don't understand why you wouldn't understand why the devil wouldn't come to you in a red pitchfork, but he would come to you in all smiles. Wake up. The devil looks beautiful. He doesn't look scary. He looks inviting. He's attractive. Y'all gotta wake up. Because there's a war going on. The devil is preying on our kids. He's preying on all of humanity. And we don't understand it because we are under the delusion that niceness and acceptance and unity is where it's at. And it is where it's at, but what's the source? Ask yourself, what is the source of this niceness and all this stuff? What is the source? Consider the source. And if the source ain't Christ, then you're in trouble. But let me go in here and shop. I didn't yap my mouth longer than I expected. All right, wake up. Wake up.